Why is it that when you meet someone new, they smile, say their name, sometimes even repeat it, and in that moment, you're sure you've got it, only for it to quietly slip away just a few seconds later? Why is it that as the conversation continues, you're still engaged, nodding, smiling, responding naturally, yet you keep carefully avoiding their name, not daring to say it out loud, waiting for someone else to mention it first, just so you can hear it again and pretend you never forgot? Why is it that you can remember so many other things? A random song lyric from years ago, the subtle emotional tone of a conversation, even the vague but lasting feeling someone gave you. And yet you can't hold on to something as simple, as essential, as a person's name. If these moments feel quietly familiar, then what we're talking about today is not bad memory, and it's not a lack of effort. What we're really looking at is something deeper and far more subtle, because what you forget is never just a name, it's where your attention was in that moment. In a social setting, you look completely present. You nod, you smile, you respond, you even carry the conversation forward with ease. Maybe it's at a small gathering with friends. Someone walks up and introduces themselves. You exchange a few words about work, where you live, what you've been watching lately. The conversation flows. Everything feels natural. And then, just a few minutes later, when you want to refer to them again, your mind goes blank. You don't know what to call them. This isn't a random lapse. Your body was there, but your attention was never fully on the person in front of you. Because in that moment, your brain was busy doing something else. It was watching you. Was what I just said okay? Did I sound natural? Am I coming across the right way? In psychology, this is called self-monitoring. When it's activated, you're not just part of the interaction, you're also observing yourself inside it. And this dual-track state quietly divides your attention. Part of your mental resources goes to the other person, but another part stays with you. And what remains is never enough for full encoding. So the conversation continues, but the information never fully settles into memory. And names are usually the first to go, because they don't directly affect the flow of the moment and they don't feel immediately necessary. So you think you were engaged, but in reality, you were only performing engagement. The actual receiving never fully happened. And when your attention is occupied by yourself, other people naturally begin to fade. Even when you were paying attention, the name can still disappear because the brain has never stored information equally. In a fraction of a second, it runs a silent filter. What matters? What should be kept? What can be let go? Think about a workplace meeting. You might clearly remember who brought up the key idea, whose voice carried a hint of hesitation, who seemed slightly unconvinced in a certain moment. These details have emotion, context, and texture, so your brain assigns them a higher weight. But the name of that same person? It often slips away. This isn't a flaw in memory. It's the natural outcome of what psychology calls the levels of processing theory. The deeper something is processed, the more meaning, emotion, and connection it carries, the more likely it is to stay. But a name, on its own, is usually just a sound. It has no emotional tone, no visual anchor, no story attached to it. Your brain is far more likely to remember the product designer with a slight accent, the girl who just moved to the city and loves talking about coffee, the guy who made everyone laugh with a dry joke. These are images. They have context. They carry meaning. So they get encoded first. But the name itself hasn't yet been woven into that structure. It's like a sticky note without a place to stick. And in the constant flow of information, it quietly drifts to the edge and disappears. You're not failing to remember. Your brain is prioritizing what feels more useful, more connected, more real. And in those first few seconds, a name simply hasn't found where it belongs yet. So it's not forgotten. It was never fully kept. Sometimes, you don't forget a name because you didn't hear it. You forget it because in that moment, your attention is already full of yourself. Imagine a first-time business lunch. As the other person introduces themselves, you're listening. But at the same time, your mind is racing. What should I say next? Did that last response sound too formal? Am I making the right kind of eye contact? Your ears are taking in the words, but your awareness is turning inward. Psychology calls this cognitive load. When your brain is busy handling internal processes, self-evaluation, anticipation, emotional regulation, its capacity to process external input automatically drops. And so a subtle split begins to form. You are in the conversation, but also watching yourself have the conversation. Your attention becomes fragmented, and memory depends on continuity. It needs a clear, stable signal. Once that signal is interrupted, the most fragile pieces of information are the first to fall away. And names belong exactly in that category. They carry no emotional urgency, and they don't push the conversation forward. So when your mind is occupied with, "Am I doing this right? What should I say next?" the name gets quietly downgraded. This creates a familiar paradox. The more you care about the interaction, the more you want to show up well, the harder it becomes to remember the other person's name. Because your attention is no longer moving toward them, it keeps looping back to you. And when the self becomes the center, others naturally begin to blur. Remembering a name doesn't require effort. It requires something much simpler, a brief moment of undivided presence, a moment where your attention is fully placed on the person in front of you. At some point, you may begin to notice something quietly. Forgetting a name was never about not trying hard enough. It was about not fully arriving in that moment. In many conversations, you seem present, but underneath, you're still dividing your attention, evaluating, adjusting, managing. You're handling the interaction, but rarely experiencing it. And remembering a name only requires something simple and increasingly rare: presence. When you actually pause, even for just a few seconds, to look at the person in front of you, to listen to the way they speak, to let their name gently attach to who they are, your brain begins to form connections on its own. The name is no longer just a passing sound. It becomes something placed, something grounded, something real. Psychology has shown this again and again. Memory is not built on repetition. It's built on connection. Connection to emotion, to imagery, to context, to meaning. So the real question was never, how do I stop forgetting names? The real question is, was I truly paying attention to this person? Because when you start to truly notice someone, everything begins to shift. You see more detail, you feel more nuance, you understand more of what's beneath the surface, and the name stays. Not because you forced it to, but because it finally had a place to belong. Because in the end, what makes someone remembered is never just their name. It's whether, in that moment, they were truly seen. This is Felix. May you understand yourself a little deeper and treat the growing version of you with patience and kindness. See you next time.